started, you guys? Everyone? Hey, everyone. We're going to get started. So if you need to get your food, get it right now. But yeah, we're going to get started.
Cool. Do you want to do the and then
Okay, cool.
so here's how we're gonna do it. Sharing's on there. So maybe we can switch it to
Hey, it's too late. It's too late.
Go.
There's some
All right, everybody. So, do you want to make the announcement? Do you want to make the announcement? Okay. All right, everyone. So, if you RSVP'd, we're gonna do a few giveaways right now. So, do you see your name on the wheel? Yes. If you don't, you want to RSVP on the link. So.
Yo guys! Hello. Please, Aurelia has an announcement. It's going to be really fun, so go ahead.
Really fun announcement. So we're gonna do 3 giveaways by everyone who RSVP'd. Your name should be on this little spinny thing. And if you don't see your name, please be sure to sign up on the RSVP form. And we're gonna go ahead and do some giveaways. All right, let's go ahead and.
So I guess the first one is for
Yes. Drum roll.
Okay, so Android plushie. Let's do it. Please do the honors. Let's see who gets it. These are really cute and squishable. Wish I had one.
Congratulations.
I'll remove you now? Okay.
Yes.
Alright.
Do you want to do the next one?
No, you did.
Okay.
Next one of the bags.
Okay, the next thing we're gonna give away is one of these bags. All right, so let's go. This May will be 4 years that I've been working for Google. I do university outreach on behalf of Google. Florida National University is one of my schools. And previous to this role, I was actually a software engineering sourcer. So what a sourcer does is I look for candidates through our online system, maybe like if you've applied in the past and you've gotten rejected. I will look through those profiles and see if if this person was a good fit for another role. So all that to say that like if you apply and for no se agüiten, like please do not get discouraged because there's people like me whose whole jobs is like to look through those candidates and those resumes for another role. So that's a little bit about myself. Hi. Okay. Well, I'm gonna do it again for the live stream. Hi everyone. My name is Arely Silva. I typically work from Austin, Texas. Will be 4 years working for Google, and I do university outreach. So now I'm going to introduce Lena, and then we want to introduce everyone else. Is that okay? Okay.
Hi everyone, I'm Lena Monsalve. I am a technical recruiter for industry, so folks with experience. I support hiring for our Google Cloud technical infrastructure teams in Sunnyvale. And I've been at Google for a little over 3.5 years at this point, almost 4. I also sit out of Austin, Texas, and I actually grew up in Broward, so right up 95. So I'm really excited to be here. More Broward people here, I'm sure. Yeah. Yes, 954. And now I'll introduce Kevin, who's also here with us today.
So hi everyone, my name is Kevin Apodaca. I am a Google Cloud Enterprise Engineer. So I work on pretty much businesses that want to move over to the cloud. I'm the technical kind of SME person that brings in those conversations and then brings them over to cloud. I'm based out of Austin, Texas. I've been at Google for around 8 months. Previously, I was a software developer. I am an alum of UTEP, which is University of Texas at El Paso. And I guess that's pretty much it, all that we need to say. So nice to see a lot of you from the previous event, new faces as well. So hope I get to interact with as many of you as possible.
Hi everyone, my name is Saidi. I'm a technical account manager at Google. I've been working there for 1.5 years. Before that, I was part of the CTR program, Cloud Technical Residency Program, where I got to do different roles and different rotations. It was really cool. I also graduated from the University of Texas at El Paso, and I'm super excited to be here.
Hi everyone, my name is Sienna. I'm a software engineer on Search. I started like 10 months ago. I'm based out of New York. Is there anything else?
Where are you from?
I'm from San Francisco. Ask me about it.
Yes. All right. Okay, so for today's event, we're gonna do this workshop called I Am Remarkable. And just wanted to remind everyone, please stay positive and open-minded for the discussion today. Okay, so I want to talk a little bit about my experience with I Am Remarkable. So I took this workshop back in 2018, and ever since then, like this workshop and this experience has popped into my mind several times throughout my career. And you'll see why as we go along. But it's really been helpful for me through my career to talk about my accomplishments and to talk about my accomplishments in a way that I'm like proud of and I'm confident about. So yeah, I hope that through this presentation, some of the stories that we'll share, you'll resonate with them. And I hope that today you leave feeling a little bit more confident about talking about yourself and your accomplishments and what you have to offer. All right. So I'm going to kick it off over to Lena, my co-host.
Awesome. So I'm going to go over what to expect during this time. So we'll expect some times and introductions. Then we'll dive into the research behind this workshop. We'll dive into a little bit of an exercise, both self-exercise and then a group exercise. And then we'll finish out with a discussion. For right now, I know we have a larger group of folks here. So I'm going to say turn to the person on your right. And I want you all to think about why you're here today. You're going to be here for the next hour or so. And really think about what is it that you want to leave this workshop with? What are some of the things that you want to take away from this? And we want to like set our mindset for what it is that you want to get out of this next hour with us. So turn to your person to the right, and we're going to spend about 2 minutes introducing ourselves and saying why you're here today.
Nobody was fixing each other.
Okay, where are we at now?
We're right here.
I'm gonna ask one person to share, like,
Yeah.
share with me, like, why
Yeah.
you're here today, and what you hope to get out of it. What was the question?
Why you're here today? What is it that you want to leave this workshop with? What did you choose to be here today? What are you looking to leave the workshop with? There you go. I wish we could like.
You want to make it taller?
No, I don't think you can. I was like hoping.
Wait, it's touchscreen.
What?
It's touchscreen. No wonder I was like, what is happening?
We're on the live stream. I was like,
What?
we're like, oh, it's touchscreen. Technology.
Oh, we are on the live stream. Okay, so we're right here.
Where's Kevin and our people need to start? Well, yeah,
Wait, what do you need from them?
they need to mingle.
Oh, yeah. Right now?
Okay.
Okay, everyone.
1, 2, 3, eyes on me. See, that still works.
Yes, love it.
Wow.
Okay, awesome. All right,
I used to be a teacher, so I can use my teacher voice still. Awesome. So, Adeli, what do we want to hear from folks right now?
Would love to hear if one or two of you could be brave and stand up and share why are you here today and what are you looking for to leave from the workshop? Two brave souls. Yes, please.
Research the projects and actually have healthy discussions.
Yes, congratulations. Okay, come up here and grab your swag if you'd like. Yes, okay. Love it. Love the braveness, love the confidence. So feel free to grab any one of these items. And then for the next person, I'm going to call on you. And please share your name and what your major is and your year. And then please answer the question. Okay?
So quite a lot of stuff. Okay, so how are you guys? I'm Daniel. You can call me Dan. I'm a software and game developer. I study computer science here at this school. I'm here to connect with people with similar interests and from you guys. What I hope to take away is friendships, connections, and just general knowledge. Because I like learning from different fields, not just software, but a bunch of other stuff.
Yes. Thank you. Go ahead and grab one of these. Anyone. Yeah. Yes. Great choice. All right. Cool. Okay, so let's move on to the next slide. So what is IAmRemarkable? That looks weird. Why is it looking like that?
All right, I'll troubleshoot. Don't you?
Okay. So what is IAmRemarkable and like why are we here today? So IAmRemarkable, if you had a chance to look at it at the website before you got here, you'll notice that it's a global movement and it's a pretty broad workshop that has a lot of like engagement on social media, on LinkedIn, that kind of stuff. So IAmRemarkable, the workshop started in 2015 by Google, and it was an effort in order to get women together to talk about their accomplishments. That way they can feel a little bit more comfortable talking about their accomplishments and be in community with one another in order to learn this really important skills. However, we actually noticed that this challenge and this skill to talk about yourself is not only helpful for women, but it is also helpful to anyone who has identified themselves as being from an underrepresented community, right? And so anyone who is outside of the majority can benefit from this skill and this workshop that we're going to talk through today. So with that being said, raise of hands, who has ever felt like an outsider or underrepresented either in a community, in a classroom, right? Yes? Show of hands. Yes? Amazing. So quite a few of us, right, have felt like an outsider, have felt like we may not fit in. So this workshop is for you, and we hope that you feel leaving empowered and confident in order to talk about yourself. Okay, so we decided as a company and as Google that we were going to offer this workshop not just to women, but for everyone in any community that feels like they're from an underrepresented group. And specifically, we wanted to bring it to Florida International University because we know that this comfortableness of like talking about yourself and your accomplishments is basically starts at a really young age. And if you are able to learn the skills of today and really start applying them today, right, and on your resume and whenever you jump into an interview or whatever, it's a good starting point. That way you can continue to build on this skill. And guess what? You're going to have to do this like in your career. This does not stop at a resume or an interview or anything like that. It really does continue in your career. So would love if someone can think about a scenario right now as a student where you might need to promote yourself and talk about your accomplishments. Yes, now? Right now? Mm-hmm. Absolutely. Yes, absolutely. Whenever you're in a room, right, like with recruiters or with employers, right, you really want to talk about yourself and what you've been able to accomplish, right? So absolutely. Yes.
So, oftentimes when you're just meeting somebody new, talking a little bit about yourself, I think there, like if you can talk about what you're interested in and so on, that could be part of your accomplishments.
Yes, definitely. I love that you brought in your interests, right? Like that. Has anybody thought about, like your interests can be part of your accomplishment? That's a really great point. Thank you so much for bringing that up. Okay. All right. So where am I at? Okay. Yes. So wanted to share with y'all that people who have taken this workshop, after leaving the workshop, they have reported feelings of being excited and being inspired and motivated to exercise these skills, basically. And it's our hope that you feel the same way. All right, so over to you.
Awesome. So today we have two main goals. We're encouraging everyone, but particularly those in underrepresented groups, to really engage in this self-promotion and also raise awareness of the challenges that folks from underrepresented groups may face when engaging in self-promotion. Just as you may have already experienced in many ways the benefits of self-promotion, including taking control of how you're perceived by others and making them understand your unique contributions and what you bring to the table. Today we hope that with we have some tools to sharpen those self-promotion skills, and you're feeling more equipped to also change those social norms of self-promotion on your own college campus. So just a little bit of an anecdote. This is something that I'm still working on. I have been at Google for almost 4 years. I still struggle with imposter syndrome. I still wonder, like, how did I get here? Why am I still here? Do I actually know what I'm doing? And then I think about all the things that I've been able to accomplish, not just in my professional career, but in my personal life. I'm a first-generation college student. I went to college thousands of miles away from my family. And that's everything I was able to accomplish, and I never celebrate that. And I think we need to sit down and really think about everything that we've been able to do in order for us to really be able to go out there into the world, because self-promotion is so crucial to building your brand, and it's a skill that you're gonna need when you're in the corporate world, in academic settings. And I also love the fact that you mentioned interests, because that's so important too. We're not just our jobs. That's not our only piece of our identity. It's just something that we do 40 hours a week, right? So with that, want to make sure if you're thinking about instances when you've had to self-promote, how does that feel? What have you had to do? When did that happen? So if you can share with someone next to you when you actually had to engaged in self-promotion in the past and how that felt. We'll take a minute. Sounded.
Yeah, I kind of used this before. Sorry.
It's fine. It's not really what I was talking about.
Go with it. Go with it.
It's hard to breathe the mask.
Yeah. I think I want to talk a little bit about imposter syndrome.
Yeah. For a little bit there, and then dive into this. We'll have practice with these for we can get everyone back.
Okay, good. I'm thinking about my story.
Okay. Get people to work on it.
All right, everyone. Okay, everyone.
1, 2, 3, awesome. Yell it out.
No, I don't want to do it. No.
Okay.
I am not. I'm not like Lena, but please quiet down. She was trying to tell me to practice my teacher voice, but that's really hard to do. I think you're just gonna have to do it every time. All right. Okay. All right, y'all. So I want to share a little bit, a little story, a little bit of my experience, and hopefully it resonates with some of y'all. First of all, like I never thought that like Google would hire someone like me, right? And that someone like me is like I'm a first generation college student. I used to live in Mexico, Monterrey, Mexico, and I lived there until I was 7 years old. And my parents didn't have a lot of opportunity in Mexico, right? And so they immigrated to the United States, specifically Pasadena, Texas. It's just outside of Houston. And we didn't have a lot. Like we grew up pretty low income, went to a school that didn't necessarily have the best schooling, you know. And whenever I got accepted to my university, I felt like it was just luck. Like I just felt like I just got lucky, right? And throughout my college career, I got like a research experience. I got scholarship, right? I got like awarded all of these different things. And I always felt like it was just by chance. And it was just like luck that these things happened to me. I never really like acknowledged that, hey, maybe I'm doing something right, all right? Like maybe I do have some skills. I never acknowledged that at all. And to be honest, even when I applied to Google and even when I was going through the interview process, right after that interview process, I was so hard on myself. I was like, I did so bad. Like they would never hire someone like me. And I just did a lot of like self-negative talk. Like I just really beat myself up. Why? Because growing up, like my mom and my family just taught me that like you just have to be humble and you just have to work hard and put your head down and like, you know, just you're gonna work hard and people are gonna notice. But that's not necessarily the case, as we'll see a little bit later on. But like I got the Google job, right? My first time around, and I was so shocked. And that's a huge accomplishment. But even whenever I tell people that I work at Google, a veces me da pena, like, or sometimes I just feel like uncomfortable talking about that, even though it's a really huge accomplishment, right? And I still struggle with this, y'all. But as I mentioned, this workshop has continued to like pop up in my mind every time I like go into an interview, right? Or I don't know, I go into a performance review or something like that, and I have gotten better. So I wanted to ask you, has anybody felt like an imposter before or has experienced imposter syndrome? And I would like someone who hasn't gone to stand up. So yes, you in the San Francisco hat, please share your name. I'm sorry, can you say it again? Whatever you feel comfortable with. Sitting down is fine. Yeah. Yes. Yes. Thank you so much for sharing. That's huge. Yes, we can do little claps. Yes. It really does affect all of us. And to be honest, and I could go on another workshop on all of this, those of us that are high performing, actually, we deal with imposter syndrome. So if you do have imposter syndrome, that's a really good chance that maybe you're a high performer anyways. Okay, so please come up here and grab some swag. Yes. Okay. And I have another question for someone else. Yeah, feel free to grab anything that you want. Which color? Nice. Great choice. All right. Another person. Do you ever find yourself wanting to talk about your achievements, but you hesitate? And I'd like to know, what are some of those things that hold you back? Yes. Yes. Woo! Yes, 3.77. Yes, amazing. Come on up here. If you'd like, feel free to grab something. But I wanted to say that it's not bragging if it's based on facts. Okay? Like, it's not bragging if it's based on a fact. So it's just a fact, right? Like, we love our technical majors. You know, it's just a fact. So it's not bragging. And so if you have accomplished this amazing goal, right, or have done this incredible project that you're really passionate about, that was able to help someone out, why wouldn't you want to talk about it, right? So let's try to like break down those gender norms, especially for women, and talk about it. So not only might doing so be very helpful for your career and your career success, but it can also help you inspire others. So for example, who here knows or has watched a TED Talk? Raise of hand. Yes, 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 yes. Awesome, awesome, great. So this is a really great example, right? So TED Talks are really popular because the speaker's narrative is almost always a story about how they were able to accomplish something. And I mean, I get inspired and excited right after I watch a TED Talk. Well, essentially, this is them talking about their accomplishments, right? And does it feel like bragging, right? Like, I wonder if all of us like consider that as being like self-promotion, right? It doesn't have to feel, and it doesn't have to be this like salesy type of like skill that you do. And anyway, we're gonna talk a little bit more. So over to Lena.
Awesome. So, accomplishments do not speak for themselves. Let me tell you how real this is. A personal anecdote that I have of when this happened to me. I'm one of our global program managers for events, partnerships with our boot camp, with coding boot camps across the entire world. It's still difficult to say that. I helped launch a really successful partnership with a boot camp in Palestine, and we hired a lot of great engineers there into our offices in Poland. Do you think I wrote that down in my performance review? Nope. I just wrote down very quickly, this is what I did. I was the global events manager for this. That's it. My manager asked me, what did you actually do? I'm like, well, I didn't say I said we, meaning the entire team that works on this. We did X, Y, Z. She's like, we? I'm like, yeah, we did. Because for me, it's really hard to say I did something. I've worked on this project for over 2 years, and it's still hard for me to take any credit for the work that we've been able to accomplish. So just because you do something, doesn't mean that everyone knows that you've done it. It just means that it's for your own personal thing, but you actually need to sit down and like tell people and tell the right people what you've done. Because if no one knows what you've actually accomplished, what's the point, right? And we're taught oftentimes that it is bragging. So it's something that I still struggle with every single day. But we need to be able to own our own narratives and show the value that we bring. Talking about how your accomplishments is really a skill. It's a muscle that you have to flex all the time. And it's okay for it to feel awkward because it's hard. It's really hard. But over time, as you continue talking about it, you'll find your voice and actually be able to talk about what you've accomplished. And you start feeling more comfortable. And I really think about this in where you're all sitting today, being a student versus being in a company. As a student, you are pretty much focused on your individual accomplishments. You can really drive those changes on your own student performance. You can join a club and do X, Y, Z. When you join a company, you're part of a team. And you're working on a collective effort. But what was it that you actually did, right? You need to be able to articulate those pieces, especially when it comes to performance reviews, and really in the modern place, because we operate like this, we have a lot of autonomy. Folks that succeed are the ones who are not the most intelligent or the most hardworking. It's the people that go out of their way to make sure that the right people know what they did. So with that, definitely just start feeling more comfortable thinking about what you've accomplished and writing those down. And we're actually going to engage in a couple of exercises to help you do that.
Yes. Awesome. Okay, let's see. All right. So y'all, like, if you're thinking that this is optional, unfortunately, that's not the case. So being able to show and speak about your value is essential to our success. And if we don't do that, we risk falling behind those people who feel more comfortable or have more experience talking about their success, right? And so let me show you. So from this research that we did, and if you wanted to look at the actual resource, there's a source. We found out that avoiding self-advocacy can be detrimental, especially when modesty norms are at odds with optimal or ideal outcomes. So what does that mean? It means that there are modesty norms, right? And that means that like maybe there's this like social expectation of how women should be, right? Women should be X and Y, and anybody who goes outside of the norm, they're being perceived negatively. And I don't think in this version of the presentation we talk about this, but there was actually research done that women who promote themselves and talk about their own accomplishments there's like data that shows that they are less likable. So this is like happening, right? There are women out there that they know that they need to promote themselves, like me, right? And I've talked about my accomplishments in a very confident way. And there's a perception, right, that I am this type of person, or that, oh, she's X, right? Or, oh, se cree mucho, right? Like, she thinks too much of herself. And that's a real thing. So, however, right, if we want to be successful, if we want to collaborate and do really impactful work, we not only have to do the work, but we have to talk about it. And if we don't, it's detrimental to our success. So I think this is still me. All right, so like we mentioned, this is a skill that you have to learn. And the first time it's gonna be uncomfortable, the second time, the third time, the fourth time, it will continue to be uncomfortable. But the more that we practice doing it, the more comfortable we're gonna feel. And it's not gonna be like anybody else's self-promotion, right? You'll find your own voice. Okay. All right, so quick yes or no, like thumbs up, thumbs down. Do you find it difficult to talk about your achievements out loud? Yes, no, yes, yes. Some people are like, you know what, I'm pretty comfortable with that. That's great, we love it. We love to see it. All right, so, and I'm curious, like, for those of us that like feel a little bit more uncomfortable talking about that, have you found some ways to talk about your achievements? Or are we still, so maybe this workshop is like right timing. Yeah? Okay, cool. So over to you.
Perfect. Great. So it's not just our own limiting beliefs that poses these barriers. Unconscious biases are held by others around us, and they can also influence how those people act with us and interact with us. So it's not just a gender issue. This is an issue that impacts people in underrepresented groups. When it comes to race, unconscious bias can mean the difference between looking at someone and saying, that person is so smart, they're so naturally talented, versus looking at someone and saying, they got lucky. I can tell you that's something that happened to me when I was in high school in Broward County. People would look at me and say, you got into the school you got into because you're a woman of color and you're just filling a quota. That's not the case. I graduated second in my high school class, so I feel like probably did more than that. Thank you. That's my claim to fame. But all of this to say that people on the receiving end of these biases are less likely to get credit for their ideas, for the work that they do. They're more likely to be interrupted in team meetings, for folks to take credit for the work that they've been doing, to have less influence. And that makes us less comfortable speaking out when we see these, when we see this happening about our own accomplishments, because we don't want to have those perceptions become reality. Beyond self-advocacy may show up differently or perceived differently in each underrepresented community. Oftentimes, cultural or how we grew up, those expectations around self-advocacy, talking about what we're able to do, what we've been able to accomplish, is very different, especially when we're thinking about the communities in which we grew up in. I'm sure everyone has heard the phrase, it takes a village, right? If we did this, instead of saying I did this, that's a way in which cultural norms impacts folks from different communities. And with that, we'll move to our next slide.
Okay. I just wanted to like re-highlight what you said though, because I feel like this needs to be like, make sure you don't forget about this. Okay, so here's the point that I really want to hone in on. Like, when it comes to race, unconscious bias can mean the difference between looking at someone of a particular race and perceiving them to be naturally talented, or looking at them and perceiving them to be someone who just got lucky, right? The number of times that like I've told people that I work at Google and they're like, oh, you work at Google, right? And I feel like people, they don't believe me sometimes. They're like, oh, you work at Google? What do you mean? You know? And whereas like maybe if I was a different race or maybe I was a different gender, they wouldn't think twice about it, right? So these things are real. Okay. Awesome, cool. So another thing, right? Language can also be a big barrier. Like who here has English as their second or third language? Yes, same. Like Spanish was my very first language, and then, now English, I feel more comfortable in it. But anyways, so language can be a big barrier, especially if like your workplace, you're expected to speak in English and English was not your first language. It was your second or even third language, right? This can be a big barrier because aside from like cultural norms, right? And like gender norms, there's also a language barrier that we have to deal with, right? I was talking to someone earlier today. I wonder if they're here. No, they're not here. Where I told them, like, whenever I first started to write a resume, I don't know what to write. I was like, I don't know. I just did my job. Like, what do you mean? Like, how am I supposed to write this in like a fancy, like salesy way? I didn't know how to do that. Not only because like I didn't, this wasn't not my first language, but professional speak, it's a different type of language, to be honest. And so this can be another barrier. And so again, it's another reason why like practicing this can be, is very helpful. And it's critical really to advancing your career. Okay. All right. So did we jump in?
Yes.
Yay.
So we're gonna jump in. We're gonna jump into our individual exercise. So as we said, in the spirit of flexing this self-promotion muscle, celebrating ourselves, what makes us all remarkable, we're going to move into the next portion, which is our individual exercise. You all are going to take 10 minutes, and you're going to start every sentence with, I am remarkable because. Alrighty, so for this exercise, you're gonna write, I am remarkable because. I would love to say I am remarkable because I have great skin, and trust me, I know I do. I don't look my age. I'm way older than you probably think I am. But I don't want to focus on anything physical. I want you to think about your experiences in life, at school, every step that you've taken to get here today. And I'm sure you have plenty to be proud about. You graduated high school. You maybe are far away from home. What are some of the things that make you remarkable? And we'll have about 6 more minutes. And remember, if you have a little voice in your head that tells you that's not really remarkable enough, ignore that. Write it anyway. My challenge is for you to fill the entire page, and you have 4 more minutes.
Keep writing.
I'm sure there are many great things that you all are remarkable for. Remember, it's not bragging if it's a fact.
Font size. How many spaces?
I will grade every single one.
Or no?
Okay. Oh, it sounds like everyone's done. Yes? Otherwise, you have 1 more minute. Do you wanna, And for us to do that, listen to the following directions. We're gonna break out into groups of about 10 people. Corner, corner, middle. Corner, corner, middle. Well, yeah, corners. Yeah, and then middle. So 5 groups of 10.
When she says corner, she means corner.
Corners.
Corner.
Yeah,
Four
middle.
corners and one middle.
Yes.
Okay.
And you're gonna bring your paper with you.
I know, right?
And most importantly, I want to make sure that everyone's aware that it may feel uncomfortable, but this is a judgment-free zone. We're not taking anything that we hear. Everything that we hear here stays here, so don't take this outside. Take the muscle exercise with you, but let's leave people's personal statements in the room.
So let's go ahead and get up, right?
Yes.
We're gonna get up now, and please separate yourselves into groups.
Of
So-
10.
Of 10.
Each corner,
Please
in the middle.
join corners.
And middle, in one middle.
Corners and middles, please.
I'll stay in the middle.
I'll go to the back corner. Okay. I'll go to the back corner.
Okay, I'll be middle. I'll be in the middle. if we can all come back together. Yes.
All right.
Deeper.
Okay, cool. Awesome. All right, everyone. We're going to jump back into it. We're going to do a discussion with the group, everyone. All right? So
we have a couple of questions for folks. Now that we spent some time, think about, how did it feel to write down why you're remarkable? What did it feel like to say it out loud? And yes, we'll start with, how did it feel to write it? Anyone want to share?
yes.
It felt a little weird. It took a while to remember certain things. I started with very minuscule accomplishments. I was able to get up today and I feel super tired, to bigger accomplishments. So it started reminding me, and it was good.
Yes.
At the 10-minute mark.
Amazing. Congratulations. Feel free to come up here and grab some swag. Yes. So I really like how you said that, at the beginning, whenever you first sat down, it was really hard for you to list some of these things. But the more and more that she did it, she said that it started to remind her of other things and bigger things that she did it. So this is just an example of it is an exercise, right? It is a skill that you learn, but the more that you do this, and the more consistent you are at it, you're gonna be able to right off the bat be like, oh yeah, here's what I did. Boom. You know what I mean? So thanks for sharing. Anybody else want to share, how did it feel to write it? Yes.
Well, looking at a mental mirror, you kind of have to take a deep look at yourself, but putting it in a positive context kind of forces you to change your mind's context. It's like when you look in a mirror for physical qualities, and you're like, no, I am pretty, or I am beautiful, but on paper and in your mind's eye.
That's amazing. Thank you so much for sharing that. Come up here, grab your swag. Yes. And I just wanna highlight a point that you made, which is beautiful, is that it took some reframing, right, of your mind. Yes, please go ahead. It took a reframing of the mind and thinking of your accomplishments in a different way, right? So sometimes we're so hardwired to be have negative self-talk, right? That we have to really change that. And so again, it's practice, and it is repetitive. And continuing to do this, you're gonna start to reframe your mind. It is a mindset that has honestly been so ingrained into us and our culture that we need to start practicing to do this a little bit more.
Okay. What did it feel like to say these things out loud?
You said it felt nice?
Yeah.
Oh my God, I love that. Yeah. Yes. Tell me more.
Yes.
Refreshing.
It just felt nice to say something
Yeah.
I accomplished.
Yes. Amazing. Thank you. Yes. I love that. I love that answer. That is such an unexpected answer, but I
Yeah.
love it. Yes, it is. It does feel nice. Yes, go me. Yes.
Weight was lifted off my shoulders when I was saying it out loud. Progression from the start to the ending. Looking back, I was wow, I can't believe I actually did that.
Wow. I love that. Congratulations. Come up here. That's incredible. All right. So, did anyone's statements remind you of things you accomplished and forgot to add? Yes.
Building creating that, was one of those titles of mine. Tell myself, hey, I actually did something. That represents my career, represent my goals, represent what I want to do in my life. And when I applied that to myself, I was I finally did it. I finally created
Mhm.
However, now I have some smarter goals to achieve. I need now need to launch it and just focus on there. It's how you build something.
Yes, amazing, amazing, love it. All right, I think there was one other person over here who had raised their hand. No, 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 no. Okay. Ooh, yes, you in the back.
I think I focused a lot more on like, do I am like kind of like, oh, like I'm becoming a citizen as a young person. Well, I kind of forgot to like think of like the ones that I actually did.
Do you want to share one with us?
I made NFTs.
Oh, that's so cool.
What did she say? She makes NFTs.
Ooh, yes, girl. Amazing. Okay. Come on up here, please, and grab your swag. All right.
And then, in the past, have you felt comfortable sharing your accomplishments with others? Has anyone ever felt comfortable? Yes.
Okay, so I have felt comfortable, but I would say it depends on the situation. Like if I'm talking to someone who is down and I want to make them feel motivated, I would tell them how I have achieved what I've achieved. In that scenario, it's fine for me to share.
Yeah.
But if it was a certain other situation than that, like where I'm just telling someone connecting, then that would be a little awkward, I guess.
Yes. Yeah, that's pretty typical. I resonate with that as well. Come up here and grab your swag. Okay.
Awesome. Great.
Okay. Oh, is this you?
That's you.
All right. So some follow-up exercises, y'all, that you can kind of do for yourself in order to practice this, right? So the best thing that you can do after this workshop is to continue to do this. So one way is to have a Remarkable Wednesday where you get a group of friends together. Maybe you start off with like one other person and yourself, and you really force yourself to try to talk about your accomplishments for that week. That can be a really great place to start. And the goal is to share one accomplishment out loud with that person. So you can do this like a weekly thing, right? So practice and perfect. So practice phrasing and expressing 2 to 3 accomplishments with friends or peers, right? Maybe you do this like once a month, right? You do this all the time. And then this one is one of my favorites, y'all, and I actually do this now. Tracking your achievements and your accomplishments in a log. So this is really important, especially once you start working in your career.
Have an internship?
Huh?
At an internship?
At an internship, yes. Every week, maybe on a Friday, right? Like you look at your week and you're like, what did I accomplish? And you write one thing and you really challenge yourself to write the one thing. By the end of the year, you're gonna have 52 things, right, that you wrote down that are accomplishments for that week. And not only does it help you like paraphrase and like reword your accomplishments, but now you have a list that you can use to put on your resume, that you can use to practice whenever you chat with recruiters, right? And it's a really easy and sustainable way in order to do that. So highly recommend this one.
And I want to add to that, if you get like an accolade, you get a winner prize. If you are in an internship and you get an email from your manager or your manager's manager saying that you did XYZ, you copy and paste that and keep a log of it. Then you can look back at it and say like, oh, look at all the things I did this past week. This is pretty awesome. This is something I use for my performance reviews. Whenever someone sends me an email telling me how great I did, I copy paste it, put the date, and then I keep track of it. And then when I talk to my manager about my performance, I can show her all of this. And I'm not lying, not bragging. I'm just stating facts because someone actually said these things to me.
I have a question. Many times people would say that there are two sets of people. One person who needs
Intrinsic motivation.
validation, which is you don't need anyone to say, you can say it yourself. And then other people who are extrinsically validated. But my thing is though, don't we all seek some form of external validation?
Yes.
How can we be solely internally validated? Like, I'm just wondering, like, don't you at least have that one person or a community
Yeah, that's a really good point. And you are asking if people.
If you can solely be validated by just engaging in this exercise and saying like internally like this is what I did. I think that's just up to each individual, right? I'm intrinsically motivated. I don't need someone to tell me that I did XYZ really well. And I actually find it embarrassing myself when someone tells me like you did this, like amazing job, because I don't seek recognition, and it's hard for me to accept it. But in a corporate world, you need that external motivation because that's what other people are seeing to measure your performance, if that makes sense. It's not a perfect world.
Well, also, one point that we made throughout the presentation is that, like, through talking about your accomplishments,
to the right people,
you can actually build connections and build on other people's projects. So, for example, you and I, we were working on a project together, right? And that didn't come out unless we were talking about our accomplishments. Like, I was doing something in my own team. I was running like discussions with my team or whatever to have conversations. And she was also doing that in a different sense, but in a different team as well. And through talking about those accomplishments that we had, we actually started to collaborate together. And we were in collaboration with even another person. We were able to take this project and scale it to all of Google Recruiting. And if it wasn't for like talking about those accomplishments, we wouldn't have been able to like partner together and do something even more than that. And then it kind of goes back to the TED Talk idea that we had, like talking about those accomplishments can be inspiring and motivating for other communities as well. So it's not just about like getting ahead, although it is, like we saw in the research, it is detrimental if you don't do this. Yes.
Maybe to answer your question, one thing that used to happen to me is I was surrounded by, and I can give you examples if you like, but in general, I'm surrounded by odds, and we're in a situation because of my background or because of the level of experience that other people had. The idea was that I wouldn't be able to fit in or do well. So I'll walk into a room and everybody would be like, this guy can't do it, you know? And the thought process that helped me get through those walls that have happened many times was the fact that like I get fueled by that type of mentality, right? So, for example, when I was in high school, you know, there's seniors. You start as a freshman, and I was really into wrestling, but I never done it before because in my country they didn't have it. So I would show up to the practices, and they'll be like, "Hey man, you can't just be varsity and go into district. These guys have been in wrestling for 4 years." And everybody would laugh, and I'll be like, "No, I'm gonna do it." And you know, there's one of the situations where I would get fueled by that kind of hate, and I took that through everything in my life, whether it was moving from, you know, serving tables to moving into sales. Sales was just like that. Everybody's a shark in sales, and people treat you like, you know, what do you know? You came from selling tables, you know, and you realize and you start getting nervous about the fact that, hey, if I don't perform this month, they might just fire me or anything like that. But the fact that everybody collectively didn't want me to do good kind of like fueled me. So if you're looking for like any type of motivation, it's like, to me, what I use is beating the odds. Like right now, another situation, it's like everybody has this mentality that it's so hard to get an internship. That kind of fuels me, not because everybody's looking at it in a negative perspective, but because I feel like that's what you have to drive for, to like find a way, find the angle to beat the odds. And when you get really good at that, there's like, I feel like there's nothing that you can't do.
Awesome. So, advocacy matters. If in this room you're someone that's in the majority right now, or you're in the majority of an audience wherever you gather, you see steps to lend a voice to those who maybe don't have one at the time, or just amplify that in a group setting. So first of all is attributing ideas correctly by stating who actually shared that idea and or inviting that person to share more. Acknowledging accomplishments, publicly or privately, depending on the individual's performance.
Preferences.
Or preferences, sorry. and asking probing questions. I think this is really important. If you notice someone using we instead of I when they're discussing their accomplishment, ask them more about their role. Most likely, they were doing a lot more than they're giving themselves credit. This will also help them become more comfortable with sharing their own accomplishments.
Yes, awesome. Okay, we're not doing a survey, I think. I think we're kind of out of time. So,
Yeah.
all right, just wanted to share some of the impact from this workshop. Like I mentioned, it's like a global workshop and whatnot. So as of September of 2020, there's been over 140,000 workshop participants, and now y'all are adding to that. 7,000 plus facilitators. So if any of you want to facilitate this workshop, you can actually become your own facilitator and host this workshop for others in your community. And it's in 130 plus countries. So as a result of this workshop, 3 months after, here are some expected results from this workshop. 49% experience professional growth by doing this on the daily, right, weekly. 81% feel more confident, and 89% are self-promoting more often. So we look forward to having y'all do this and be part of these reports as well. And I hope y'all enjoyed this. I think that's the end. Is that the end?
Yeah.
Okay, closing remarks.
Yeah, spread the word. What makes you remarkable, share it. If you have a Twitter, I don't know if anyone tweets anymore. Promote the exercise within your organization. If you're part of other groups on campus, have a Remarkable Wednesday. And then you can sign up on g.co/IAmRemarkable, and definitely stay connected with other folks here. Practice with them. Like we said, this is a muscle that you need to continue exercising. The younger you start, y'all are pretty young, the more comfortable you'll be once you get to those settings that will challenge you.
So maybe pick a partner, right, of like here in the room. Yes, maybe you challenge each other every Wednesday to say one thing. That was hilarious. Awesome. So that is all, everyone. We're going to stick around for a few minutes after this workshop. So if y'all have any questions, we have some Googlers hanging out. Feel free to come up and say hello. But we hope y'all had a good time. Thank you. Okay. Hello. Hi.
So I was wondering about like signing up for doing this workshop.
Yes. Yes. So you can sign up to do the facilitator.
Yeah.
Oh my God, yes. So you can go to this link right here, and that's how you can sign up to be a facilitator.
Yeah.
These things have always really inspired me because I've realized that I'm in the tech industry my whole life, and there's two different types of groups I noticed that inspire you and encourage you, but there's also another group of leaders out there putting people down, and that's what has put me down in this so much. But when I came here and I started like posting my progress and everything, doing for instance this workshop here at GDSC,